Welcome back to Face the State. I'm Ariana Bennett. Thank you for staying with us. Well, it's graduation season, and while some are celebrating, more than a fifth of Washoe County seniors will not be crossing the stage this year. Now, grad rates have been on the rise, hitting 77% in Washoe County last year, but a lot of kids are still dropping out. Auburn Harrison with Communities in Schools of Western Nevada is here now to talk about an effort to change that statistic. Auburn, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Of course, thanks for having me.
All right, and we know there are a lot of reasons why kids drop out. It can range from health problems to family problems to money problems. Do you guys find that there's a #1 issue?
I mean, it really stems from a lot of different things, as you said, but certainly students who live in poverty and who grew up in poverty, especially generational poverty, are much more likely to drop out, oftentimes by 3rd grade. So we are trying to tackle that issue from the very beginning. We serve students all the way from kindergarten through seniors here in Washoe County, trying to find whatever interventions that's going to help to keep them in school and eventually to have them graduate.
From 3rd grade? I didn't even know that was legal.
I know.
I thought you had to be in school up until a certain age.
Well, you know, people grow up in such different conditions, and so it's hard for people to grasp kind of all the different conditions that students can kind of face. But there are kids in this community who have to take care of younger brother or sister, or they might have to work to help support their parents. They might just not have anybody at home who really is pushing them or really sees the reasons for going to school and sees the importance of that. And so all those things can lead to that. But sometimes it's really just some of those basic needs that keep kids from coming. They might not have food, they might not have shoes, they might not have a place to take a bath or shower, and so they're maybe embarrassed to come to school. So it can really run a lot of different, it's many different reasons, but we do see that continues on. So sometimes kids will get to maybe 5th or 6th grade, sometimes middle school, but once they start falling behind or they're having some other personal issues, then they will oftentimes drop out. So we're trying to deal with that issue.
That is so sad. How prevalent is that in our area? How often are you seeing these issues?
The ones I just mentioned? Well, so we're serving currently 5 schools here in Washoe County that are kind of the most high poverty, the most dropout prone schools in this community. There are 43 Title I schools in Washoe that have extremely low educational outcomes. So that gives you kind of an idea of what we're talking about, how many different schools have these issues, how many different schools have these high dropout rates. And when you talked about the graduation rate in Washoe County is 76%, and that's gone up tremendously in the last few years, which is really, really great news. Some of the schools that we're serving currently, the graduation rates are 20%, 60%, so extremely low. So it is a very big issue. Some of even the elementary schools have about a 40 to 50% mobility rate. So students every year, it's 50% of the school is brand new students. So it is very, very prevalent, and it's a problem throughout our community, throughout our state. So we're seeing this down in Las Vegas, we're seeing this in Elko, and we're seeing it right here in Washoe County.
Okay, now this is where Communities in Schools comes in. So tell me about the organization.
Sure. So we are a national nonprofit. So we've actually just celebrated our 40-year anniversary. Started in New York City 40 years ago, and it started as an organization called Cities in Schools, and then kind of has evolved to what it is today. They came into Las Vegas about 13 years ago, and then also in Elko about, I think, 8 years ago. So it's kind of grown across the state. Now, this is our 3rd school year here in Washoe County. Pedro Martinez, the former superintendent, brought the program here from Las Vegas because it was so incredibly successful down there, and it's grown so much over the years down there. So here in Washoe County, we, like I said, we're serving 5 schools. What sets us apart from a normal kind of a mentorship nonprofit is that we are located in the school. So we are surrounding students with a community of support at school all day long. So we have staff that's actually embedded on the campus. So currently we are at Hug High School, Innovations High School, Vaughn Middle School, Libby Booth Elementary, and Natchez Elementary School. And those are all schools that in this community have been designated as Title I. Sometimes they're also designated as a victory school, which is even higher issues there with dropouts and poverty. So we will work on the campus. Our staff works on campus with students all day long. They're not a teacher, they're not an administrator. They are a mentor, and they work on whatever it is, whatever barriers are leading to that student either wanting to drop out or having issues with behavior, low grades, low attendance, and just trying to figure out what they can do to try to get that student to improve those things and have better results.
Now, is it kind of like school counseling, like having an extra school counselor, or is it something different?
We get asked that a lot. So people will say, gosh, these schools are so impacted. They've got counselors and social workers, and they've got a PIF, which is called a parent involvement facilitator. Many people have not heard that, so I'll give you some acronyms, but I'll explain them for you. So they've got all these different resources, but at these schools where they're so highly impacted, even with all of those people, they kind of have a divide and conquer approach, and still they're not completely reaching the need. So usually our staff will case manage a percentage of the school. So at an elementary school that has maybe 100 kids, we would be case managing 10% of that school. So that's the goal. But usually our staff can handle many more. At Hug High School, we're case managing about 65 ninth and 10th graders and 65 juniors and seniors, and so we're able to reach a larger amount of the population.
So in most cases, is it just linking kids with resources that already exist that they didn't know were there, or do you guys create new opportunities?
It's a little bit of both. So we have 3 tiers of service. So we do tier 1 service, which is the entire school, and that's things like you just mentioned, linking them to a resource. So each of our campuses has a food bank of Northern Nevada funded food pantry. We have a clothing closet through Project 150. So we're working as a broker with another nonprofit to bring a resource to the school. We also do tier 2 services, which is more of programs that we're creating. So at Vaughn Middle School, some examples of that, we have a yearbook program that the yearbook had just kind of gone away. There was nobody there to do it because at those schools, they're not fortunate to have PTAs and tons of parent volunteers and people with lots of money who can donate. Right. And so we created a yearbook program, a dance program. Most recently, we've been taking students over to the Ronald McDonald House to bake cookies and goodies for the families. So anything that we can do to try to engage that kid, show them what else is out there, get them involved, get them excited about being at school. And then our tier 3 services are really that one-on-one case management where we are working with a student 1, 2, 3, 4 times a week, depending on kind of their level of need, to really figure out what it is that's going on with them. And some of the issues that those students are facing at that age level, 7th and 8th grade, you would be amazed. I mean, they might have the possibility of being jumped into a gang after school. They might be being sex trafficked. They might be, I mean, things that are just unfathomable to a lot of people in this community. But it's certainly happening, and it's happening often.
Now, you've been in the community, you said, for 3 years? So is it too soon to know if what you're doing is working?
No, I mean, it's really amazing. Our program is evidence-based, so nationwide, the graduation rates for CIS graduates is about 96%. Wow. So hugely effective. In Las Vegas, they've reached about 92%. They've been there, as I said, for some time. So as I said, here in Washoe County, graduation rate countywide is 76%. Last year, our graduation rate was 85%. So we're extremely excited about that. Those are the students that we are case managing. We know that we're working with them. We've given them all of the tools in order to graduate. And so we're really hoping that we can help the district reach that goal of 90%. And just even compared to last year we saw about 7 students graduate from Hug High School. This year we're going to see about 25. So we are thrilled with that.
That's great. Yeah.
And the students, I mean, just to give you an example, some of the students that are going to graduate this year, they came to us when they were sophomores and literally had hardly any credits. They were so credit deficient that they were kind of told, just give up. You're not going to graduate. There's no way. They maybe had multiple suspensions. Their grades were terrible. And here they are, you know, one of those students today, he takes, I think, 3 buses currently to get to school every day. He's basically self-managed 18-year-old student that's going to be graduating. He just got 2 scholarships and he's going to TMCC next year. So
oh my goodness.
Very, you know, a big difference. It's exciting to see those kind of results.
Yeah, that's wonderful to hear. Okay, we got 2 minutes left and I really want to get to what you guys need. Do you need volunteers? Do you need donations? What do you need?
Right, so we're lucky that we're funded partially through Title I funds, so the school district does pay a portion of our costs. But what we absolutely need more than anything is funding. We are kind of at a standstill right now. We're in 5 schools. We should be in 43. As I said, there are 43 Title I schools in this county that really need our help. And so we need funding in order to grow into those schools and create that vertical path so that we can case manage a student from kindergarten all the way through their senior year. We always need volunteers. We love people with talents. If you have a great talent, if you have art to share, if you have yoga skills, if you have whatever it is that you like to do and you want to share with a student, we'll bring you in. We can set up a time after school and do an activity. If you're super smart and you're good at math, good at English, come on in. We need tutors, so we always need those kind of things. And then year round, we do collect school supplies. That's our biggest need. Most of the clothing and things that we get from other nonprofits that bring their services in, but we'll be having a big school supply drive in August, and we need those items because students just, they don't have the money for those kind of things, and they don't really have somebody at home that's taking them school shopping and things like that. So it's very beneficial to send them to school with the tools they need.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, 1 minute left. What's your message to the community? What do you want them to know?
I think just know that this is a program that's out there that's making a long-term difference in this community. This is not a short-term thing. It takes years and years and years to make a difference. But students who graduate, it's shown that the research shows that they're going to be much less likely to rely on social services later on. They're going to make more money in their lives. They're going to live longer. They're much less likely to be alcoholics or drug dependent.
Or commit crimes.
Exactly, or commit crimes. I mean, we're turning out students that are going to be better for this society. And our community, as we know, is growing. There's all these great new jobs coming in, and we want these students to be the ones to fill those jobs and be the future leaders of our community.
Absolutely. Okay, well, hopefully we can get some help for you, Auburn. Thank you so much. I sure appreciate you having on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Alrighty, that is it for this episode of Face the State. But for more information on all of this, or to see past episodes, you can just head to our website. That's ktvn.com. Thank you so much for being with us. We'll see you next week.